Hi, this is the new Parasha of Mira Neshama. It's been forever, and I'm so happy and even proud to be back. And I want to say proud because it's not easy to come back to a practice when you kind of left it for a while, you know? And this is the whole meaning of the notion of tshuva in Judaism. We can only come back because we're never going to keep things. That's how we are human beings, you know? Everything that's good, every practice, the hardest thing is to keep it. And we're going to neglect it at some point. And the whole thing, the only thing that matters is to come back. Is to come back. So I'm back. I don't know for how long, you know, but I'm happy to be here today. And I want to talk about Pekudei. And Pekudei, at first sight, is not the most, inspiring parasha. It's not the most spiritual parasha at first sight. Because at first sight, it talks about the numbers of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, the little temple that we were carrying in the desert. And this is what Pekudei means. It means number. So the very beginning of the parasha opens with Ve'ele Pekudei HaMishkan. Ve'ele Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan Haidut. So first of all, I think when I read it in Hebrew, I think that there is something extremely beautiful in the repetition. It's very poetic. HaMishkan, Mishkan, you could even read it just like this, Mishkan, Mishkan. And it's all the more so beautiful that, as you may know, Mishkan, it comes from the word Shechina, Shachen. Shochen so the Shochen is what is here, what is present, what is close to you, and the Shechina is really in Jewish spirituality the divine presence, the Shechina. So the Mishkan is really the dwelling place of the divine presence. So Mishkan, I think it's very beautiful. But the Parasha adds a little word after the repetition. They say Mishkan Haedut. So Edut means testimony. Testimony, and there is something very important here in the sense that the Jewish community, Bnei Israel, they were a klal before Mount Sinai. And after Mount Sinai, they become an Edut. They become an Eda, a community of Edim. The Ed is the one who testifies, is really the witness. And so we become a community of witnesses, of people who testify for something. And the whole question is, what do we testify for? What is this Edut here that is being mentioned in the parasha? And at first sight, we could think that it means it's the testimony for the Luchot Abrit, the tablets of the covenant, testimony for the law that we received at Sinai. That's the kind of first reading we would tend to have. But Rashi says something very different here. He says something very surprising in his commentary. He says it's a testimony here for the fact that Hashem forgave us for sinning at Sinai. And I think there is something very powerful here. Sinai, the sin was the sin of the Egel, the golden calf. So, we didn't see Moshe and we felt very insecure. We felt that nobody was there for us. We felt lost because it's so hard to be autonomous when you're a human being. And so very quickly, we just built something else that we could adore and pray as our God. And this was our mistake. And this story always, reminds me of this Zen saying that I find very beautiful that says, when the wise shows the moon, the idiot looks at the finger. And we all laugh when we listen to this. But if we get real for a minute, we all do that. We just all do that because it's so difficult to look at the moon. It's so much easier to completely rely on somebody else. And this is the deep idolatrous temptation, the deep idolatrous instinct of the human being. And this is what I love in Torah, is that it's not an ideal book. It doesn't show, it's not an example. It doesn't show the way human beings should be or could be. It shows how human beings are. And what we are most of the time is deeply human, in the sense of deeply imperfect, unwhole, weak, coward, you name it, And so the testimony here is not a testimony from us to Hashem. It's a testimony from Hashem to us, a testimony of the fact that this force, God, this life force, forgives us for that, for being so small, for being so human, too human, as Nietzsche would say. And this is really what I keep from this parasha this week that I'm reading it, that maybe it tells us something very deep about Judaism, that maybe Judaism, before being a testimony for law, for revealed law, a testimony for the unity of God, of the life force, maybe before all that, it's a testimony of the fact that there is this divine force of life that is capable of so much compassion, that it can forgive us for being so prone to mistakes, so small, so weak, just a capacity for forgiveness. So my kavanah for this week is really may we be able to emulate, to imitate this greatness that is able of compassion and forgiveness. Voilà, this was the Minute Parasha of Mira Neshama. Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov.